Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have an incredible guest with us today, one who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than Brother Michael. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Joshua. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, sir. This means a lot to myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast that you would take time out of your busy schedule to come on here with us. My first question for you is, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, pretty much had a brush, several brushes with Islam. As a young kid growing up, we used to hang out in the neighborhood. In the neighborhood that I'm from, Dr. Malachi Z. York, he had his community in the neighborhood where I'm from, in the Bushwick section of Brooklyn. He had several children, but one of his sons was a friend of mine. He went by the name of AB in the streets. He was a friend of mine. So I was familiar with Islam in that arena. Then we had an Orthodox Muslim brother named Abdullah, who used to be by the check cashing place, selling oils, incense, and things like that. And he used to talk to us when we were young. And he used to kind of be like, brother, be careful, watch who you hanging with. He would, try to pull us into, Islam and teach us Islam that way. And then as a young teenager, I had a brush with the 5% Nation of Islam. Most of my schoolmates, my classmates in junior high school, were 5%ers. So I used to hang out with them, and they used to have ciphers and stuff like that. And I kind of thought it was amazing when you hear who is the original man, they building the lessons and stuff like that. So briefly joined the 5% Nation of Gods and Earth when I was young. I was about 13, maybe 14. And I was just fascinated by, the language, then the headwear. They used to wear the kufis with the tassel hanging off. And then they had the names, which fascinated me. Like one of my associates, his name was Knowledge Master. Then I had another friend named Unique. Then I had another friend named Born Intelligence. Then I had another friend by the name of Bar Kim. So those names was fascinating, because they was different. And, can you say peer pressure or just wanting to be a part of, that family in the community with my homeboys? I became a 5%er and started studying my lessons. But here's the funny thing about that. They would give us what you call a book of life in the 5% Nation. So I had my little book of life and everything in a separate bag, and I left my bag home one day. So when I came home from school, my mother was in the kitchen, standing in the kitchen, and it was a bunch of papers in the sink. And she said, "What is this, AKA Wanted Mr. Pig?" We had a little poster, Wanted Mr. Pig, AKA Chitlin, and all that kind of stuff, bacon, pork, sausage, etc. She said, "What is this all about?" And she said, "What is this Black man is God business?" And I was like, "Oh, that's the 5%. That's who we are. The poor righteous teachers of the planet Earth." I started dropping jewels on my mother.
Okay.
And she looked at me and she said, "I'll tell you what, you're gonna be a 5%er, all right?" And she took the lessons, and it was the student enrollment in particular, because that's the only one I had. And she burnt it in the sink. But when I look back on it now, by the grace of Allah, when she burnt the student enrollment in the sink, it stuck in the sink where you could see it visibly. And you couldn't take it out with comment, you couldn't scrub it out with bleach or nothing. So I started washing the dishes on the regular so I could learn the student enrollment. And that's when I was young. But as time goes on, there's cultural shifts in the community. So, growing up in the 80s, in the mid to late 80s, there was a cultural shift. Everybody was hustling, making money. Some of us were going out of town making money. So Washington, the DMV area, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, pretty much everybody in the neighborhood knew that that was the hot area, Washington, D.C., because you had some of the homies would leave New York, go to Washington, hustle in Washington. They come back, everybody jeweled up, nice clothes and everything.
Yes, sir.
Fresh. So DC was the pretty much hot spot for a lot of out-of-towners, primarily New Yorkers, brothers from New Jersey in different places. And that's where we planted our feet, started hustling, Southeast DC.
Okay, yes, sir. I'm familiar with Southeast DC. So,
Yeah.
so yes, sir. So you're being Southeast DC. Is this individual, or you like in a gang, or this just
No,
like
it was a crew. You can call it a gang, but our crew. We was there. We was hustling in Southeast. Some of our homeboys was in Northeast, pretty much, which brings us to Mayfair Mansions and Paradise Apartments. So some of our homeboys from the neighborhood was hustling over there. 87, 80, 86, 87, 88, 89. So what happened was, basically, when I look over it now, we were visiting some of our home. We was over there hanging out in Mayfair Mansion. I believe we was on J Street. We was even on J Street on the Kenilworth Avenue side.
Okay.
And we didn't know him as FOI then, pretty much. We seen him coming through the apartment complex on several different occasions, but it was just one day we just so happened to be over there. I went over there to talk to a female that I had my eyes on. And just so one day that we happened to be over there, we was hanging out, chopping it up. Your dad, who was Brother William then, approached us and was talking to him. When we seen him from a distance, we really didn't pay it no mind, but they was dressed kind of sharp. Like you couldn't help but keep looking at them. No matter what you were doing, you couldn't help but just keep turning your eyes towards them to see what it is that they were doing. So they was, brothers were spread out over the place talking to different people, but it just so happened that your father himself personally was talking to us. Was talking about what they doing in the community. They asked us, did we live there? I didn't say nothing, of course. I was just listening. The female was like, yes, we live here, boo. So what he was saying made a whole lot of sense. We're trying to clean up the community, drug activity, the killing. We want to stop the killing. Our children need a safe place to live. And, so it made a whole lot of sense. But what got me was he said the name Farrakhan, right? And he was talking so highly about the minister. And I was funny name. It was a funny, so it stuck in my head. And in my mind then, in my uncivilized state, I was like, who the hell would name themselves Farrakhan, whoever Farrakhan is? That was in my mind. So what he was saying made sense. But I was still hustling in Southeast for the most part. So I would visit Mayfair Mansions, Paradise Apartments often, females over there. Then we was looking to put some work over there because I told my peoples, hey man, we might could put some work over here. Let me see what's going on. I'm gonna play the field and I'm gonna see what's going on. Okay. So it's just, one day we was over there when all of that, when the brother pulled out the shotgun and all of that, or was playing whatever he was doing. We was on the other side. We heard about it. We seen it, but we ain't really paid no attention until it was on the news. And it was like, oh, we was over there today, woo, woo, woo. So then it was, the Nation of Islam. So still, vision blurry, ain't really paying it no mind. My focus is my hustle. We trying to get this money, we trying to stack this paper, we trying to make this move, boom. So when I got locked up shortly thereafter in 1990, I heard the name Farrakhan again. Farrakhan. I kept hearing the name Farrakhan. Then we had a marshal that was escorting us to court because I did federal time. We had a marshal that was escorting us to court. Brother was about like 6'3", maybe 6'4", and he would always be playing a tape of the minister. And he had a tape of the minister, and what I remember from the tape was, "You've been framed and took the blame for somebody else." Don't know the name of the lecture. All I know was that stuck in my head. "You've been framed and took the blame from somebody else." Because, you know, thinking about my, you know, we going through the court procedures, think about my case. You know, you in a situation where people who you thought was firm and strong, you know, some of the muscle got weak, and pretty much water was coming out of the muscle. You know, the feds have a way of doing their thing. But nevertheless, it's like, you know, a lot of things, but I kept my integrity, because when I was young and I was growing up, and, you know, a lot of the older hustlers in my community used to say to me, whatever goes on or whatever transpired while you in this game, man, you keep your integrity. I don't care who do what or whatever, just keep your integrity. That's gonna take you a lot of places, and it's gonna keep you around long. So, you know, I just held my head and did what I had to do and do my time. So being in the federal facility, you move around in different places. I also was in a state facility where I met a few brothers, and it was, you know, brothers in the nation, primarily Brother Carlos, assistant minister, Brother Elliot. That brother was very instrumental as well in my developmental process. My childhood friend, I named him Knowledge Master. His name Knowledge, everybody called him Knowledge. He was very instrumental, because when we got locked up, he was like, "Man, we got to get our life together. We can't be back out here with this and that, boom, boom. What you gonna do?" So I said, "Man, I'm just chilling right now. I'm just trying to see my way through this." So we was in separate units. So he came and he brought me Message to the Black Man. He brought me some copies. Know Thyself. That was the copy he gave me out of the book. So I looked through the pages. I said, "This a whole book?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Man, I don't want this. Give me the whole damn book." So he sent the book to my housing unit where I was at. So I was reading the book, Message to the Black Man, and that was pretty much preparatory for me joining the nation.
Beautiful, sir, beautiful. And so many people are showing you love in the comments on Facebook. My sister Miriam says, "Assalamu alaikum." Sister Naima, Sister Rabia, she said she used to live in Mayfair Mansion.
Wow,
man, wow, praise be to Allah. Everybody just showing you love, liking. Thank everybody for saying like, share, and subscribe to the People's Podcast. Yes, sir. Now, Brother Michael, now I want to go back to once you got caught. What was it about you saying that you and the Brother Knowledge, y'all the only ones who basically didn't snitch, is what you're saying?
Well, it's several of us that didn't tell, but then it's a lot that told, pretty much. You know, they just, yes, hey, man, it is what it is, but, you know, it's a lesson in all of that.
Absolutely. Now, for the younger generation that's coming up after you, who may think that their crew, their gang, their clique, the tribe, the squad is solid under pressure, what advice would you give to them to let them know that might not be the case once the pressure is applied?
Well, basically, to all my young people, young brothers and sisters, whoever, look, man, choose a different career path. That's just the bottom line. People who you think may be solid because of their actions in the street doesn't mean nothing. If the feds or whoever can put pressure on them and make them break, trust me, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna make them break. And they pretty much play on your weaknesses for the most part. But I would say leave the drug game alone. But in truth, if you are in it and you haven't gotten caught yet, I would basically choose a different career path, since you're already an organization. I ain't gonna call it a gang. I'm gonna say, like the minister say, you know, an organization. Since you already an organization, just change your path, because out of darkness, as the scripture says, come light. So whatever monies you all have, if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of y'all, and each one of y'all are in possession of monies, put y'all monies together and do something legitimate. Tune into yourself, try to get some knowledge of yourself, learn a skill or a trade, do something you like, man, come away from that because it's really not worth it. You get into the system, they flush you through the system, they keep you away from your family, you know, shipping you all over the country, keeping you away from your family. And I will enwish prison on my worst enemies. It's really not a place to be, although there's light in that dark environment, it's really not a place to be.
Beautiful, yes, sir. And thank you for your transparency and honesty, sir. I've interviewed so many people from the prison systems from the East Coast, West, North, South, and many of them, if not all, say it's not a place to be. And I always try to, you know, give advice to, you know, younger people just to make sure that, you know, everybody can learn from the trials of others to, you know, better, you know, make another way.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Once you get out of prison, what makes you accept the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, I accepted the teachers in prison.
Okay, so you accepted while you was in. Okay, yes,
yeah,
sir.
I was studying. I was already, you know, during that time, I was looking over my life, man. Like, okay, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. So we here right now, and I'm back at this point with who is the original man. I'm back at this point now with hearing Minister Farrakhan. I'm back at this, I'm reading Message to the Black Man, right? So I'm studying and everything. So I meet another angel. You know, your father was the first angel. my co-defendant and childhood friend Knowledge, he was the second angel. Brother Elliot was the third angel. And his brother Malik, Shabazz, he was like, I used to call him the human dictionary because this brother was excellent with words. He was inspired by Malcolm. He was excellent with words, but he was also a tutor in the school. And I worked in the library, cleaning up the library as an orderly. So I hit Malik up once I knew he was affiliated with the Nation. I hit him up and I was like, brother, let me get one of them tapes, Minister Farrakhan, so I could watch. He was like, man, I don't want to give you this tape, New York, and you get caught with it. Because, you know, we would take the tape from the chapel to the school area, which was two different areas. You're not supposed to do that. So we took the tape. I would take the tape after I do what I do, and I would sit and I would watch the minister. So that's what kind of, you know, drew my attention to get in the Nation. So I got in the Nation. I joined the Nation in prison, started studying, and wrote my letter while I was in prison.
All praises due to Allah. Yes,
so
sir.
We in the prison system now. It's brothers in the Nation in the prison, and it's brothers from, you know, from the first resurrection in the prisons, and it's brothers in the prisons that's in the Nation. And those brothers honestly work. Shout out to the Nation of Islam Prison Reform Ministry, Brother Minister Abdullah. Them brothers work to take young brothers when they come in. They don't get everybody, but the ones who they see struggling and trying to do something different with their lives, them brothers kind of pull brothers in and, you know, kind of share the teachings with them and, you know, put the teachings on them, bring them in the circle where, you know, you working out, you know, the discipline, the structure, the discipline is there for the most part.
Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. Yes, sir. And once you got out, what city did you go to, and what was the climate like? How were you able to become reacclimated to, you know, normal society? As they say?
Jacksonville, Florida, brother. When I came home, I didn't go directly to the mosque. Pretty much, I was in the halfway house. You had to, in the halfway house, when you come to the halfway house, you got to find a job within 15 days. So can you imagine me not being from the city of Jacksonville and I have to find a job in 15 days? I don't even know my way around, pretty much. So several times they threatened me with sending me back to prison, but I'm not from the city, so I really don't know the city. So you got to find a job in 15 days. If you don't find a job in 15 days, then they'll send you back to prison until you complete your time. Right? Okay, so by Allah's grace, I found a job, and truthfully, that job wasn't paying nothing. It was paying $6.25 an hour. you younger than me, but they had these little books that used to be puzzle books and reading books. I worked in that warehouse here in the city of Jacksonville. They was paying $6.25 an hour. Okay, when I was in prison, I got my, I'm a cook by trade, certified. So I got all of that, my culinary skills up. So I went from working for $6.25 an hour to $8 and something an hour in the college, EWC college, pretty much. And I stayed there for a while. And I got my CDL, Class A. Then I started working for Pepsi, pretty much. Driving trucks for Pepsi, yard jockey work, moving trailers and things like that. So after I got myself together, because in my mind, I didn't want to come to the Nation of Islam and be a burden to the believers, you know, coming out of prison, you don't really have nothing. You gotta restructure yourself, especially if you're a grown man. You can go home to your family, you know, your parents may still be alive and you have somewhere to go, your siblings may be alive, you have to, but you don't wanna be in nobody else's house as a grown man. You kind of wanna like have your own place. So I took my time to get myself together and get my little paper up a little bit before I got into the Nation, because I didn't want to come in the Nation and be a burden. I wanted to come in the Nation, be focused, be able to work, be able to travel and do things with my Nation. So that's exactly what I did.
All praises to Allah. Yes, sir. Beautiful, beautiful. And once, I want to ask you this question about fear. Have you ever been faced with fear? You know, inside the system, outside the system? And if so, how do you overcome that fear?
Wow, growing up in the streets, I don't care how hard you pretend to be or how hard you try to be. It's always somebody a little harder. It's always somebody a little braver. It's always somebody that got a whole completely, I don't give a damn attitude greater than yours. So throughout my life, yes, there's been instances where there was fear, but sometimes you're in a position where you just gotta face what's coming to you. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta face it head on, man. Irregardless to the scrapes and scratches and the scars that you may acquire through it. You gotta get through it. You understand what I'm saying? You just have to get through it.
Beautiful. All praises to Allah. Yes, sir. And you said something earlier about, once you got out, how was it finding love being outside of the school, being outside of the prison system?
You said finding who?
Love, like getting married, you know what I'm saying? And boom, like how was that?
It wasn't quite that hard for myself. You know, I always thought I was I'm just be honest with you. I ain't think I could be faded, man. I'm just gonna be
yes, sir,
honest.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
I didn't think I could be faded. I thought savoir faire is here, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir, yes,
that
sir.
Kind of, that kind of mindset. But nah, it wasn't hard, but you looking for a certain thing. Like, I don't like a female that lets me, if I could do anything I want to do and you with me as a female, I'm really side-eyeing. Because like if you in my circle and you in my midst, on some level, you have to be firm enough or strong enough to protect me. I'm not saying physically protect me, but to say, hey, I don't think you should do that. Hey, I don't think that's right. Maybe you should do it this way. Maybe you should do it that way. So I kind of looked at, my vision was on a sister. And, I just told a sister that, yo, you're going to be my wife one day. Get out of my face. That kind of thing. But, my conversation was there. But nevertheless, it wasn't hard to find love. But, my focus was get myself together, because even when I was in the dead world, the woman was a responsibility. So if you got a woman, that's a responsibility. Like you gotta put out. If you got a woman, there's no such thing as you can't put out unless you a straight bum. So I'm hustling in the streets. The females that I dealt with, they had nice stuff. So ain't no way in the world I'm gonna get a wife and she not have nothing nice, ain't nowhere in the world I'm gonna do that. So, you know, but I was working out. I met my wife in the gym while I was working out.
All praise to Allah. Now I have a question because I'm going to chop this interview up. Well,
Yes, sir.
I have just certain statistics to back this point, but you saying it was in the 80s. There's a big misconception from a lot of people from, I guess, the baby boomers or the Generation X, Generation C, yeah, Generation X, that gangster rap music or like trap music is the cause of like drug dealing and like criminal activity. But you were saying that in your time period, y'all was hustling in the 80s before gangster rap was even popping. So can you expound on that?
Well, let's be truthful. Hip hop history 101. Hip hop history 101. You had back in the 80s, and I encourage everybody to do their research so we could get a proper understanding, so we could stop blaming each other and focus on the enemy, like focus on who our enemy is and stop blaming each other. We had rappers like Kool G Rap back in the day, Just Ice, the hip hop gangster. You had different rappers. The content of rap was different. Like it is today, the content of rap is different. But what was getting the most airplay was the Public Enemies, the KRS-Ones, the Grandmaster Flashes, and the Furious Five. When I was growing up, you had the Funky 4 plus one more, the Cold Crush Brothers, Chirac. Most of them, a lot of them brothers came out of the street. That was that street element. So, but back then, the music that was being played was more conscious then. It was more of that, Eric B's and Rakim, Shabazz, King Son, Brand Nubians. All of that was being played heavily on the airways. So yes, you'll get your Kool G Raps with Roads to the Riches, and and Kool G Rap was hard. Go back and listen to his music, man. Kool G Rap was one of the hardest, like in terms of gangsterism, street icon, Kool G Rap was one. Eric B was one, even though he was the DJ to Rakim. You know what I'm saying? Rakim was one. I mean, so it's like you had your hardcore street, rah, but then you had more conscious music being played on the airwaves. And that was the popular music then. See what I'm saying? So it kind of shaped, even though we was in the street hustling, it kind of shaped our mindsets for certain things, because we also had certain things occurring in the news, like the Yusef Hawkins killing and all these old different things going on with the injustice in New York. So that consciousness, even though we was in the street, kind of guided us to, hey, we backing our community, we backing our people. We just wilding out. You do something to Black people. This is how New York was. You do something to Black people. White people riding the train was catching it, brother. It was a nightmare for them. Mm-hmm. So, but more conscious music was being played. But the blame game is the music industry, brother. The height of consciousness was moving us in a different direction in the 80s. Yeah, we was hustling, but brothers was coming out of the streets into businesses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Unlike nowadays, you know what I'm saying? It's completely different nowadays. But brothers was coming out of the streets with substance because of that music. So it's the industry behind the manipulation of the minds of the people. So we had trap music like y'all got trap music. We just ain't call it trap music or drill music. But it was there.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And my sister Miriam has a question for you. And thank everybody who continues to like, share, subscribe to the People's Podcast. Brother Michael, we have a few more questions for you because we definitely come back to your knowledge of hip hop, because I'm someone who's big into music. But we have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast this Savior's Day month, or the month of February, but specifically us leading up to Savior's Day. If you all like to be a sponsor or a donor of the People's Podcast, please cash app $ the People's Podcast. We thank you for every anonymous donation, sponsorship. Thank you very much. My brother Rashad, Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book, both of which are available for Amazon. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country and right here in the studios of Atlanta, Georgia. We love our tiny dancers. Rock Communications. If you're working on a book and you need copy editing, project management, content development, or media relations, please reach out to Rock Communications. Fashion Gods, urban streetwear. If you want to get dressed fresh, keep your clothes dripping. 314-329-6009. Student Minister Robert L. Muhammad out of Austin, Texas. Conflict mediation, squashing the beef throughout the Southwest region. He does a phenomenal job. His wife, Sister Fudia Muhammad, Children of the Most High, giving birth to a God in the science of child rearing. Please get her book, Power Campus Online Learning. Do you want to improve your homeschooling experience? We're here to help. 770-847-0786. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad, COVID-19 Disinfecting Cleaning Services out of Chicago. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Please reach out and get those books. Thank you all for every like, share, comment, and subscription. Right back to our brother Michael. My sister Miriam Muhammad says, thank you. My sister Miriam Muhammad says, did you marry the sister that you told she was going to be your wife?
Yes.
Are you on the marriage? Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And speaking of that, what advice would you give to future husbands?
Brothers, don't get married if your paper ain't up. I don't care how beautiful the sister is, how nice she is. Her potential is her potential. But make sure you get yourself together pretty much. Just get yourself together, have the basics, be able to meet the bare necessities of being married, and then you all grow together and you help each other in your growth and development. But if you ain't got that going on, this is for FOI too. Man, get yourself, make sure you can provide the bare necessity, because that's our job, maintain a provider, protector, and that's on many different levels. So let's make sure we just have ourselves together to meet the bare necessities. And trust me, when you meet in the bare necessities, it may be rough, but the sister will grow with you.
Beautiful. Much. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And what has been the greatest trial in your life, sir? How have you been able to overcome that trial?
Well, the greatest trial,
yes, sir,
in my life, that I was able to overcome, my transition through prison. That was one of my greatest trials thus far that I've been able to overcome. Because it's like when you come out of prison with a sound mind, like you have a great responsibility, a great deal of responsibility on your shoulder when Allah brings you through that darkness. Because it's, a lot of people don't make it. A lot of people don't make it in prison, man. Even brothers who you go in there and you see that they're strong, a lot of them don't even make it. So the greatest trial was coming through that dark period, because what you see and experience while you're in prison, man, it's killings go on in prison. The same way it's killings that go on in prison, and sometimes it happens right in front of you. And you stuck, you don't know what to say. Now you're in a whole nother situation. Now you being investigated, people come and question you. So these are the greatest trials, and you have to pretty much get through it, because your life is on the line. And not only inmate against inmate, but prison guards will kill you. The guards in the prison will set you up to get you killed. The guards in the prison themselves will kill you, especially if they don't like you. And it'd be a lot of conflict with the officers in prison more than it is gang on gang and stuff like that, because and it's a bunch of white racist prison officers. They don't like you, whether you doing something conscious or not. But us in the nation, they didn't really kind of like, we get our books in the mail, it's cut up, spit in the books, all kind of stuff. Pages glued together. You get half, man, it's crazy. So that was pretty much one of my greatest trials.
All praise to why you were able to make it through. And man, I just want everybody to stay free. Yes, sir.
We made it through, and we helped. It's a whole cadre of brothers that I did time with, and we pretty much help each other out. You know several of them, Brother Edward, Brother Larry, Brother Milton. He's always on the front post rostrum. Brother Marcel. It's a whole lot of us. We pretty much held each other up with the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan during that time period, and that's what kept us. That's what really got us through this, and that's what kept us holding our head.
All praises to Allah. Beautiful. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My next question for you, sir, is you said you were a hip hop head. What is your favorite album of all time?
Oh man, you can KRS-One, man. That was the dude. Public Enemy was hard, and I liked the Public Enemy, Chuck D. KRS-One, you know that You Must Learn by KRS-One. KRS-One, okay. He was the man then, brother. He was like, because he was just like straight giving you jewels, giving you that wisdom, but he was street/conscious. Street/conscious/righteous. So it was like, man, you know what I'm saying? He was hard, man. And
yes,
Rakim. And Rakim.
And Rakim, yes, sir. So you saying that he could come with You Must Learn, drop some jewels, but then he could also hit you with The Bridge Is Over.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Criminal minded, you know, like Public Enemy, my Uzi weighs a ton.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Like that, Welcome to the Terror Dome, then the Terminator X, you know, so, and then Rakim, he was same way. You know what I'm saying? Follow the leader. He was the same way, you know what I'm saying? So that was yeah.
Beautiful. All praise to Allah. Yes, sir. Hold on, and I just want to make sure I keep showing everybody love in the comments who are showing you love, and I can't wait to put this on YouTube this evening. My last question for you, Brother Michael, sir, is what do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be, I just want to be one of the best of the many helpers of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Joshua. And I say that because, you know, we talk about the history being written every 25,000 years and the original man walking into his history.
Yes, sir.
Brother, I'm myself along with others, many of us are actually walking into our history because we used to be in the prison. We see the FOI drilling. We see him out with the Final Call newspaper and we be in there, you know, capping, yo, when I get out, yeah, let somebody move on the minister. I'm gonna do such and such. And, you know, when I get out, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. So a lot of what I'm doing now, I see myself doing, especially with the Final Call. I'm top 5 in the nation. Final Call deliverers, as Brother Jeffrey so eloquently put it, I'm top 5 in the nation. And that's because of another angel that just popped up, Brother Hakeem, with the path and him showing us how to sell as opposed to just getting out there with the paper, final call, final call, final call. He just showed us an effective way with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad by the grace of Allah on how to sell the paper. So just briefly, I was suspended, challenging the supervisors on my job with the safety of the yard as the head yard guy. I was suspended, whatever. But you know, like some people, they get in the flirt, you know, some people get crazy, but you know, they go into this crazy mental mind state when they lose their job. But the very same day that I got terminated, I left the job. I thanked them for the opportunity though. I ain't just leave and get crazy. I was like, thank y'all for the opportunity, appreciate it. So I came home, took a shower, prayed, got suited and booted, and went straight out in the field. So in my prayer, I asked Master Farad Muhammad to bless me to make X amount of dollars per day. And now getting all this training from Hashim, I say, okay, now I got to put all of this to work. Because I ain't really believe Brother Hashim at first, you know, just reading his book, you know, that's the book. People put anything in the book. But Brother Hashim, we was blessed to get Brother Hashim in the city to do an event. And I read the book and I seen the CD from another brother. So I kind of like wanted Hashim to show and prove. So I showed it him while he was doing what he was doing. So Hashim be telling me sometime, like, brother Michael, calm down. I know you get it, but calm down. Head out all the way before you fly out there. So once I seen what he did, I was like, okay, I got it. He said, you got it? I said, yeah, I got it. So here I am as a result of that, brother, touched by an angel. Shout out to brother Hashim, touched by an angel. So now I'm number 5 in our nation. Final call delivery.
All praises to Allah. And thank you for your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your family, sir. Also, your mother, I want to believe her sister Barbara Scott says your mom's is watching. So shout out to your moms as well.
Shout out to my mother, man. Hey man, I'm gonna tell you, you know what really made me want to get hard though? Being that my mother, she watching now, right? When I was young, right? You know, being on the block and whatnot, I seen my mother do something that made me say, man, I ain't taking crap off of nobody. And I was like, wow. And you know, my mother was hard, like hard, you know what I'm saying? And that kind of like made me, put me in the mindset, man, I ain't taking crap off with nobody. Win, lose, or draw. If we're gonna get down, we're gonna get down. But even her preparation, she was also, when I look back over it, part of my preparation for this time in my life. Because one thing I learned from my mother is how to treat people. And I get my straightforwardness from my mother. If that's what you see, that's what it is. It ain't nothing else but what you see. And she used to always say that to me. But my mother taught us how to treat people without telling us how to treat people. Because she take people in and help them get on their feet. And I remember that growing up all my life, she would take people in and help them get on their feet, take them in and help them get on their feet when they got on their feet. So she basically taught us how to treat people and how to handle people without telling us, because she showed it through her actions. So thank Allah for my mother.
All praises to Allah. Yes, sir. We thank God for your moms for sure. Well, I want to thank you, Brother Michael, for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on People's Podcast. I can't wait to put this on YouTube. Thank everyone for liking and sharing and subscribing to the People's Podcast. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad, signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Thank you very much. And I look forward to meeting you in person, inshallah.
Yes, sir. You will see me very soon.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
Sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum salam.